Well, hello there. You are listening to Nellyville, the podcast. Guess who's black in the house? Heels click clacking about, and they call me Chanel number 5, aka Nellyville. This is Nellyville, the podcast, a place to be. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so happy that you are here once again listening. If this is your first time here, go ahead and turn on notifications. If you're watching / listening on YouTube, hit the little subscribe button. Come join the fam. You know, we just do a little kiki, a little 1-2 over here. Nothing too serious, just a little lighthearted, a little escape from, the day-to-day, But anyways, I'm so glad to be back. Look, there's a little bit of a winter weather advisory going on down here in Texas, honey. These little people down here, baby, they don't know how to act. But look, every climate has its different weather. Every climate, has their things that they're used to. So, look, I won't hold it against your little Texas. Some parts of, certain parts of Texas, they used to getting a little winter weather and stuff. But, down here in Houston, down south, further down, they don't know nothing about it, dog. You know what I'm saying? They be freaking out, dog, buying all the eggs, buying all the bread, all the toilet tissue, you know what I'm saying? Trying to figure out, man, I ain't going to work on money. You know how they do. You know how people are. Well, anyways, so is something going to happen? Who knows? They telling people be prepared, but also they're like, maybe not. I'm not really getting a clear answer. Either way, I'm gonna be somewhere warm. I'm prepared. Am I panicked? Nah, I never really gave that deep. I really don't have anywhere to be this weekend. But if you're in Texas, in the Texas area, or if you were somewhere, just keep an eye on your weather, wherever you are. Now, they did have said, Greg Abbott was spotted on a plane going to the Cancun. Now, was it a joke? I don't know. But somebody said, he's basically the groundhog of Texas, groundhog of the winter advisory. So, they had some fun little slogans and all this stuff. Now, we know what happened last time. Little Greg done ran up out of here. Left us all out here cold, no power, freezing. I think I had lost power for just a second. Anyways, we getting off tangent. Anyway, y'all bundle up. Very petty of it, man. But also, if I could just say, yeah, he needs to be here making sure, his people are good. But at the same time, baby, if y'all had money and access and flight points and if you had the resources to dip out as soon as you don't like some weather, baby, you would do it too. So I think a lot of the bitterness is coming from a place of jealousy. You know what I'm saying? Most of us just have to just hoof it and tough it out. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, we sometimes pettiness can be funny. Sometimes you can understand why someone can be petty. Now, speaking of petty, oh God, I almost got a nosebleed trying to segue into this little girl, baby, this little throwaway story. But anyways, I wanted to tell y'all a little update. What was it? Maybe last week, maybe the week before, we talked about, the little influencer Tara's World and how she asked her friends / fans if she could borrow a top that she wanted to wear for New Year's Eve, and she was going to send it back, blah, blah, blah. Cut to a girl was like, I got the top, I'll send it to you. The girl couldn't send the top. It was a nurse. And she was like, baby, I'm out here saving lives. What you want me to do? Damn, I'm sorry. Tara was like, it's his principle. And anyways, Tara was very out of touch. Fast forward. Can we talk about Tana for a second? Look, I have matured and I've grown up over the years. Tana is out here doing good, looking good, smelling good. She's out here great, dipping in and doing it. But one thing we still have in common, man, there is still a little bit of pettiness of a troll and a bit left in sister girl. And so Tana, love her so much. So Tana goes out because she had time. Baby, she had time. So she goes out and she goes on the internet and she says, y'all, it took me all of 5 minutes to find this top. And it really wasn't that expensive. Tana orders the top and proceeds to make TikToks making fun of Tara, and oh my gosh, it was delicious. Now, look, it's all in good fun. I don't believe in bullying, but gosh, I love when someone commits to a bit. It was all in the bit, and it was money well spent. And like I said before, the shirt really wasn't all like it was never that deep to want to try to have somebody mail something to you anyway. But I just love that Tana was like, you know what? I see an opportunity to poke a little bit of fun. What better person to do a bit than me? And I'm glad she did. So if you're interested, go to the TikTok and watch Tana's. Anyways, Tara, girl, I love you so much, but girl, you need to come back to reality. Come back to the world. Is that the word to come back to the world? Be back. Okay, we're not gonna do Tevin Campbell. All right, too many T's. Tevin, Tana, Tara. Oh Lord, I'm tongue tied. Let's move right along. Let's move on. There was another story that I wanted to talk about with y'all that I saw, and I don't know if you're gonna get something out of it like I did, but I had to share. So one day, maybe last week, I'm driving down the street. I get to the light, and I'm driving around downtown. So you got the tall buildings and the things, whatever. It was a partly sunny day, so some clouds, but mostly sun. Right? I wouldn't say partly cloudy. I would say partly sunny. Anyway, so I look over to this building. I'm at a light. I'm look over to the building, and this woman, she walks out. And she has on like a little, maybe like a knee length skirt, kind of flowy. Nothing crazy, just like a nice little skirt, maybe like a little jacket, a little bag. Nothing crazy. Just kind of your just everyday girl. And so she steps out onto the sidewalk right outside of the door. And at that moment, the clouds kind of part. I don't know if the sun moved away from behind a building, the clouds part, either way. Beams of sunlight fall upon this woman. And she just kind of stands there right out front of the building doors. And she kind of does one of those where she takes a deep breath and looks up at the sky and just does like a nice exhale with a smile. And then she does a little 1-2, look to the left, a 1-2, look to the right. And she takes a little strut across the street after just kind of having a moment of basking in the sun. And let me tell you, I love a movie moment. We know this. Especially IRL. I love a IRL movie moment. And that was. Okay? It was giving very editorial commercial campaign for whatever. I don't know if it could have been Colgate. It could have been, maybe it's Maybelline. It could have been CoverGirl. It could have been a box of cereal. All I'm saying is the woman was giving ad. It was giving very, she can turn the world on with her smile, Mary Tyler Moore. It was beautiful. It was scripted. Look, I don't know what the happy moment was for that girl, but all I'm saying is, had it been a commercial, I mean, very circa 2003, America's Next Model, gotta get the shoot, you gotta do the thing, I gotta get the gig, I'm modeling, I'm an actress, I'm selling you this product. It was very that. And it was a pivotal moment in a movie where the main character is just really, the story is changing. I don't know what it was for that woman. Did she just get the job? Was she on an interview? Did she get it? Did she get the role? Did she get the part? Did maybe a little love interest text her? Maybe she's been seeing him for a while. And he texts and said, hey, let's go out for date 3, 4, maybe. I don't know. Maybe she got some great news. Maybe she just closed on her house. I don't know. But it was just so great to just catch a glimpse of such pure joy and happiness. And you know what? Maybe it wasn't even that complex. Maybe she just felt the sun, feel the rain on your skin. No one else can feel it for you. Very Natasha Benningfield. it was beautiful. And so I just encourage you to just kind of people watch. You know, you never know what you're gonna see, but it was very metaphoric. It was very touch all of the skin. You know, take in the little things. But whatever it was for that woman, congratulations to her. And you know, I hope she just continues to strut like you mean it. Free your mind is not enough just to dream it. Come on, get up. Okay. Anyways, I just thought that was so. It was great. It was a great little Houston moment downtown. It was very beautiful. Speaking of Houston being very beautiful, look, I know spring break is right around the corner. And I know that in recent years, Miami said, don't, y'all are not welcome. Okay. People have been trying to find some new places. People still do the regular, you know, the Cancun. People, you know, go to other places in you know, Puerto Vallarta, Monterrey. You know, maybe, you know, maybe people might go to LA, or depending on proximity of where you are. People might go down to what's the little South Padre Island down here. You know, there's those things. But there was a huge damper when Miami was like, I don't know where y'all going, but y'all can't come up, right? Get y'all black asses up out of here. Now, not just black people, but really, come on, let's be honest. You know that's who they didn't want. They know, right? And so a lot of people got the grand idea to come to Houston. I don't know who sold y'all but if I just may, as beautiful as that moment I shared with you guys about that woman in Houston really had nothing to do with Houston, even though it's whatever. Let me be clear. Don't come. Look, I'm just saying, look, do y'all grown, y'all do what y'all want to do. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know why y'all have chosen Houston as the replacement for your Miami spring breaks. But I will be more than happy to help y'all figure something else out. And really, you know, and it's not that I don't want y'all to come down here and enjoy it. It's that I don't think that you will. Because I think that if you have not frequented Houston, if you're not from here, if you've not lived here for a while, I think you have an idea in your head that, baby, you're not going to get that fantasy. Okay, so, you know, in Miami, Las Vegas, maybe, you know, some other of the public, even Atlanta, even, okay, there are strips to walk. You know, that you know, you go to a beach town or something, baby, I don't know what these people told you about Galveston. It's not giving that. And even if you go there, don't think you're going to stay in Houston and you're just going to get in a car 15 minutes. Baby, if you stay in Houston, you're trying to go to Galveston, baby, you got to rent a car. Do you have gas money like that, spring breakers? Huh? To be renting cars and driving down to Timbuktu? Now, we used to that drive around here. Don't think you going to stay by Katie Mills Mall and you going to wake up and go down to Surfside. You done wasted a whole day. It's not giving that. You know what I'm saying? There's no strip or nothing. It's only so many clubs down here, baby, and they not that big. It's not like a whole lot to walk to. Like I heard somebody say, you're gonna go from the hotel to the Uber to wherever you're trying to go, and then back to the Uber and back to the hotel. It's not gonna be a whole lot of club and bar hopping like how y'all think. You're gonna have to pick a spot. And if all of y'all come here, y'all not all finna get in. And Houston is one of those cities who loves to raise the prices. Baby, let me tell you something. If you like, well, I was just there and I know the spots to go to, it's real cute. Da, 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 da. Just know, baby, if you got in for free, expect to pay $20. If you pay $20 to get in, baby, it's finna be 50. These people will make their money. Okay? Also, if you think, okay, I ain't gonna Uber, I'm gonna drive around. If I don't like the spot, I drive to the next one. We don't know how to drive down here. I do. I'm not from here, but These people do not know how to drive down here. They have no patience for you to not know where you're going or what exit you get off of. And if you're not ready to do 80 and a 35, baby, sit this one out. You're not experienced enough. Don't try it. You will be stressed. You don't need that stress on your spring break like that. You've worked too hard. You've taken your exams. You did all your your midterm projects and all of these things to come here and deal with these people. Also, y'all want to book these Airbnbs and stuff. Y'all want to be cute. You want to do these groups and stuff. Let me tell you something. Houston is in the middle of gentrification, okay, of these neighborhoods. There are some beautiful homes popping up. Beautiful homes, beautiful homes, beautiful townhomes, beautiful 3-story, you know, beautiful homes. They're putting them right in the hood. So they putting these pictures on Airbnb. The house is great. What they not showing you is you're not actually downtown. Okay? You're not actually where you think you are. And your surroundings, baby, get all the insurance. Because if you drive, you plan on whatever, your windows will be busted out. I'm telling you, do your due diligence, do your research. You will not be staying where you think you are staying. Don't come here thinking, yeah, I'm again, ooh, this is right down the street. Yeah, you know what? It's right down the street from where you want to be, but where you stand, baby, you will be up all night clutching your Bible and your pearls. Okay, one block could be really rich land, rubbing elbows with the athletes and the celebrities and the NASA people, and then the next neighborhood over, you find yourself in a meth land. Think I'm playing. You will get jacked up. So, all that to say, and don't think you're gonna come here and go to the rodeo. It's not what. Oh my God. Jesus Christ. Okay, look, let me tell you something. Some of y'all like, you know what, I'll just go to the rodeo. You're not. You're not. If you go, you're going to also be stressed out. Go with somebody who knows what they're doing. If you think that you're just gonna pull up to somebody's fairgrounds, baby, no, you're not. If you think you're gonna Uber there and it's gonna be simple, no. First of all, most of the Uber drivers and the rideshare people don't even want to go within 100-mile radius of the rodeo. Okay, so be prepared to pay out of your behind. They will have an attitude. Now, getting there might be a little easier, but when you leave, oh, when you try to get up out of that daggone rodeo and you find yourself having to walk 10 miles to get to an Uber, I'm telling you, it don't make sense. And I'm not going to explain all the logistics of why the driving and parking and Ubering situation of the rodeo is crazy. Maybe they fixed it this year. By the time you go through all of even trying to get in there, trying to get the tickets, you're not even going to want to be, you're not going to want to be there anymore. You're going to pay $150 before you even get in there. You haven't eaten yet. You haven't written anything. And maybe you got it like that. Maybe your parents gave you a little black card or whatever. Money's no problem. You know, do what you do, whatever. All I'm saying is, and the weather might not be spring break weather. Look, all I'm saying is, maybe let's think of a different spot. You know, maybe. But if you come, give me a little shout out. Maybe I'll come have a little shot with you. You know what I'm saying? And with that being said, let me reiterate: don't come. Anyways, so speaking of don't come, let me tell y'all about this. Okay, so I come across this little story, one of those in my a-hole, those. So the girl writes in and she says that I'm gonna try to make the story as short as possible because this was very interesting. So the girl writes in, like one of the little Reddit stories in my the a-hole or whatever, and she says that she's getting married, and she was wondering if she was in the wrong for not inviting her best friend from kindergarten. Now, they've been best friends since kindergarten. Both girls, women, are 25 years old. The girl who is getting married is white. The best friend is black. Now, the issue of, well, I know you're probably wondering, well, why Chanel, if they've been best friends since kindergarten, they 25 years old, why would she not want to invite her best friend? Well, the bride to be feels like, well, I did not want to hurt her feelings because of the venue that we have picked to get married was once a plantation. God damn. She proceeds to say that she just didn't send an invitation out. Now she sent out all the invitations to the people and the things and blah blah blah. She says that she decided not to send her best friend an invitation because she didn't want to hurt her feelings, and she says that her best friend, the black girl, is very political and obviously has some strong opinions and reservations about black history in America, right? And so the best friend invites the bride to be to lunch, and while they're at lunch, she says, "Hey, I notice everybody's gotten their invitations and stuff. Where's mine? Am I getting a special one because I'm going to be a bridesmaid, maid of honor, maybe? What's going on?" The bride tells her as gently as possible, "Well, this is where we're going to have the wedding. I didn't want to hurt your feelings." And then the earlier part of the letter, the bride says, "Look, I understand, that the history of the plantation, but I just believe that we can bring beautiful experiences to places that, had maybe a darker history." Girl, shut up. Anyways, so she tells the best friend at lunch, "Yeah, this is why I didn't invite you. I just, I didn't want to hurt your feelings, blah, blah, blah." And of course, the best friend was very upset. She said that the best friend started crying and got a little loud in public, at the restaurant or whatever. And she says that, now I cannot remember if she said this to the friend or just wrote this in the letter, but the bride to be says, if she can't, I just didn't feel like she would be able to behave at the wedding if she made a scene at the restaurant. Behave. You didn't think I could be, you didn't, okay. So, the bride to be said that she talked to some friends and family, and they assured her that, hey, you handled it the best way you could. But she said that a lot of people, several people who know both the best friend and the bride to be, that a lot of people have RSVP no. And she says that I don't think has talked to the best friend, has not spoken to her since, and says that now she's worried. You worried what? Cause you couldn't possibly think this girl's still gonna be your friend. What are you worried about? That nobody's gonna come? You worried about she's not your friend anymore? You're worried that you're racist and bigoted? You worried that you're dumb? What exactly are we worried about here? Because it sounds to me like you got a whole lot to worry about. Look, these plantation weddings, I I can't even say that I can't believe that they're still popular, but we got to do something else with this land. There are beautiful wedding venues that have no plantation ties. And if that's the only venue that you can afford or have access to, you are not creative enough, because how are you so okay? How are you so okay? That's some weird, disgusting stuff. And that's not your friend, let alone a best friend. Like somebody said, the very least you could have done was just sent her the invitation, let her decide if she wants to come. You just was not gonna invite her, like she would, like y'all was just gonna breeze right past that. How could you be best friends for with that person for that long? Best friends with this black woman pretty much your whole life. And you know her political views. I'm sure she's explained things to you. I'm sure she's taught and you absorbed none of it. You didn't give a goddamn. You never cared about that girl. You could not have. Now, sometimes when people get married and stuff, their personalities do change, especially in the wedding planning process and all this stuff, which I feel like true colors kind of come out. But, there is a world where maybe the bride is a little more progressive but has gotten caught up in the mystical magical of being a bride, having the husband, having the wedding, and rationalizing just how disgraceful this all is, not to mention the way that it was all handled. And that girl was hurt, but I don't put all the fault on the bride. Even though the best friend, yeah, she was done wrong. But honestly, I gotta put a little bit of a fault on the black woman. I'm sorry, I also gotta hold this black woman accountable because I understand that that's your best friend. I understand y'all been friends since kindergarten, and it's hard to let go childhood friends. It's hard to let people go. Maybe y'all did have a lot in common. Maybe your word is kindred spirits. Is that the right word terminology? Somebody let me know. I'm sure y'all will. But you're not gonna tell me that this was the first instance that this girl showed her racism card. That maybe before she showed it, you provided some education and she changed her ways or at least hid it from you. Maybe you thought you were changing her, could change her. But I feel like this could not have possibly been the first time that some old disrespectful racist stuff has happened within the confines of y'all's friendship. Can't be. And if it is, well, at least you found out now. Find you a new best friend. But that's crazy. And sending a letter in, and there was one part in the letter, the beginning of the letter, she was like, yeah, my best friend who she just happens to be black. What do you mean happens? But just say she's black. What's with that when she happens to be? Because why are you trying to make it seem like, oh, I never, I don't really pay attention that she's black or I don't. You're trying too hard to come off like you don't care about it being a race issue. But you in trying to be, oh, she just happens to be black. Oh, I perfectly fine with everyone. You trying that hard, gave it away. Because you could just say she's a black woman. Like, you could have just said she's black. Why did you need to add in the like caveat? What was all of that? Child. Anyway, so people's true colors really be coming out, but something needs to be done about these plantation weddings. Like, I understand that these places are obviously not, you know, they have been updating and upgrading. They're just kind of more like I don't care. Destroy the whole land. and rename all of them after prominent black people, and open that land for make it as a gifted to the arts and to STEM and schooling and technology and medical facilities for the black community. That's what you can do. You really want to make it right? You really want to change the history of that land? Burn it to the ground, start over. Drawing the whole, really truly repurpose it. Gosh, how tacky. But you really things really come out when people get married and stuff. People change, but also true colors come out. So, to people who are entering the age of like your the age of your friends are starting to get married, starting to have kids and stuff, you really you really learn what those relationships are going to be. Relationships, your high school friends, middle school, childhood friends, elementary school friends, the dynamics change every time. Like you go from elementary to middle school. Maybe you have best friends in elementary, y'all go to middle school and it's like y'all don't exist. Every time you take another go to that next level, people change and evolve at different rates and for different reasons, and life takes you on different journeys. Sometimes y'all just drift apart. Other times it's really huge things that make it so things happen where there's no way we can be friends. And then when you get out of high school, you know it's kind of a test. A lot of people go off to college and go different places. Maybe some people stay home and work. Other people might go across country. And then there's some friendships that withstand the time. Some friendships, you've known each other your whole lives. You grew up. You went to two totally different colleges and everything, and y'all made it through the first part of your 20s and all. You have the same friend group, but then people start getting married. People start getting in serious relationships. People start having kids. Just life just kind of happens. And a lot of times there some of the issues that cause people to not be friends once they get into their mid-20s, early 30s and stuff. A lot of times those issues were always there. But you either ignored it or you excused it, or it just didn't matter at that time. But as you get older and you evolve and you learn more about the world and stuff, you're like, yeah, that's not normal. That's not a healthy friendship. That's actually not okay. I actually don't want to tolerate that. I actually can't change this person. And sometimes people just do change. Some people just get so desperate, they get so caught up in their boyfriends and girlfriends and stuff, and there's kind of like that. There's that like second puberty that kind of happens around. I would say, what would y'all say, like around 25 to 27 or something? Like, think back to when you were like that age. And if you're not that age yet, there is like a second puberty that happens around that time. More like your mentality changes, your body change, like it's something goes very weird, and it's very reminiscent of the changes in the weirdness that happens when you're in middle school, that first kind of like initial puberty, somewhere between fourth and seventh grade. Like there's that, and then and then all of the hormone changes and stuff that happens throughout high school and blah blah blah. And then everything's kind of neutral. Then when you get on the other side of 25, something happens. And then I can't really speak to men, but I know for women it kind of happens again. It happens a few more times. I don't know, maybe every 7 to 10 years. It's just like there's like this metamorphosis, and I'm pretty sure it's true for men too, to to a degree. But yeah, sometimes those metamorphoses just really leave you just completely disconnected to friends or family that you were once very heavily connected to. And beyond just that physical metamorphosis, that hormone second, third, fourth puberty thing, the more education you have, the more you read, the more you explore the world, the more you travel, the more you expand your mind, the more you create different boundaries for yourself. And the more you know, the more you creative you get, the more your third eye that you use. You just don't want to be in the room with people where you're the smartest in the room. You don't want to be in the room with people who don't want to challenge themselves, who are still doing the same thing. Sometimes it's like, okay, I don't need to be around highly intellectual people. I don't need to be in a room of scholars. But I don't want to be in the room with people who are doing the same things that we were doing at 16, the same things we were doing at 21. There's nothing wrong with that. Some people find happiness in life and they're very fine sitting on the same stoop, going to the same restaurants, doing the same. Some people are very happy in that. And look, and I don't, I'm not going to yuck anybody's yum. Not everybody wants to be jet setting, flying all over the world, traveling to Milan, traveling to the Mykonos. Not everybody wants to, win a Nobel Peace Prize or, you know, create some kind of new grand technology. Not everybody, you know, has those dreams and aspirations like that. Some people find a calling in their hometown. Some people find that calling just maybe they just want to cook in their kitchen for the neighborhood. Maybe they just want to open up a local bakery shop. Maybe they want to take over their dad's barbershop business. And they find peace in that, and they're very happy, and they're very they have no regrets about being born and dying in the same city. And and that's okay. And also it's okay to not vibe with people who are opposite of you. Sometimes people who like a calmer lifestyle, they don't want to be friends with somebody who can't plant roots, who's moving every 6 months, who's from pillar to post, who's always in relationship to relationship, job to job. Maybe that craziness is like, you know what, that's too much for me. You be well, I'll send you a Christmas card, but just hearing you talk about your life is exhausting, so it can go both ways. It's not always the people who are active cutting off the people who enjoy a calmer life. Anyways, all that to say, people's true colors be coming out. And yes, girl, you was dead wrong for not inviting your best friend just to have your wedding on the plantation. And I think here over here in Nellyville, we can all agree. You know what I'm saying? Well, that's all I got to say about that. Y'all do some reflection. Figure out the people who are in your life. I said this one more thing. Take a look at the people in your life and around you in your circle, be it big or small, and just really see, are those people feeding something to you? Are they stimulating your mind? Do they have wisdom that they can offer in any regard? Do they have good conversation? Are they more just a nuisance? Do they always have negativity? Just think about your circle and think about how you feel after you hang up the phone. Think about how you feel after you leave lunch with them. Once you leave their presence, whether y'all sat down and watched, a Drag Race or Grey's Anatomy, or if y'all went out to the theater, or if you just had a 45-minute, phone call on the car ride home, whatever it is, just think about how you feel. Do you feel on a higher vibration than before your interaction with them, or do you feel empty or blah? And that'll tell you everything that you need to know. And for my youngins out there, people who figured this out later in life, whatever, your circle doesn't always have to be big. It might just be a dot. No one really, truly, genuinely has 20 best friends. You can have a lot of acquaintances. You could be around a lot of people, especially depending on your career. But but don't feel like oh, I only have one best friend or only have two. I don't really. For most people, that's what it is. When you're in high school, when you're in college and all this stuff, yeah, your circle is bigger because you're around a lot more people or a lot more often. And as you get older, it's just not necessary. Also, it's just not practical. When life is busy, you don't really have time to put the energy into the more than two or three relationships, and just really connect and make it actually worth enjoying that friendship. And if you have a core friend group that you had from back at home, maybe y'all don't talk all the time, but hey, maybe it's a good idea to make it so that once a year, once every 2 years, y'all do get together. Bring the family along, plan a camping trip, go skiing, go to Disney World, and or do something just every couple of years. Like, hey, maybe we have a group chat, we send a couple memes here and there, but every year or every 2 years, every 18 months, we'll all come together and catch up. Because sometimes, there's people that you don't talk to all the time, but when you do talk, it's like you pick up right where you left off. So also do not be discouraged that if you have really, really good friends, but, life just does not allow you to talk to them every day, every week, even every month. The bond can still be close. So do not be discouraged. Okay? Reach out first. If you're always reaching out first and you feel like, they don't, then stop reaching out. But if you reach out first and it works for you and it doesn't feel one-sided, then you always reaching out first is fine. Might just be a difference of personality, but be aware. You know, we all have intuition. And then you just gotta know. And hey, it's time to cut it off. Enough is enough. And this last little bit, I will say, I am, if you, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. If you watch the traitor, spoiler alert. All I had to say is, sorry if y'all hear the sirens, it is Houston. Like I said, don't come. But anyways, I am so disappointed in the traitors and that Monet is already gone. That was really the only reason why I was watching it. And I'm really annoyed because I first started watching it because of Peppermint. First episode, gone. Then Bob was on The Traitors. 4 episodes, gone. Monet, I think, made it 5 episodes, gone. I mean, why does The Traitors keep only getting one girl, one drag race girl, and then they don't. First of all, can we start getting 2 or 3? Because they have multiple housewives on there, and they have multiple people from Survivor. They have multiple people from these other shows, and then they put one drag queen in there, and then I don't know. I'm just very disappointed. I'm like, ugh, whatever. I mean, I'm gonna watch it to finish, but really, I lost interest. And next year, I just don't see myself watching it because I mean, if it's not anybody on there that I like really want to see, I'm not watching it because I'm annoyed. You know how that goes. You be into your little shows and stuff. But anyways, with all that being said, I hope you have a fabulous week, darling. Oh, also, just to rub this into the Houston, not rub it in because really we're the ones with egg on our face. I went to the MLK Day parade, and for whatever what reason, don't you know they had a Steelers fans group in part of the parade? Oh my gosh. Oh, it was so delicious. I don't know why there was no other NFL teams, but part of the parade was Houston fans, Steelers fans of Houston. And they had the girls, they had with the cheerleader outfits and the things and the. I was like, oh my gosh! They was waving they had a Steelers, big old Steelers flag. I was like, this is delicious. I was so bitter boots when we lost them. But I'm not gonna get into. I'm not gonna open all of that up. But it did tickle me pink that they didn't even have. I don't even think they had a Texans part of the MLK parade, but the Steelers were there, and so all that to say, still a nation. Okay,